Welcome back everyone to part 2 of our lecture series on timestamps and extract, where we focus on extracting time and date information as well as formatting it. So we're going to be exploring how to extract information from time-based data types using the extract function as well as using the age function, and then we'll also learn about formatting time information using the toChar or toCharacter functionality. So let's start with extract, which allows you to extract or obtain a subcomponent of a date value. And you're allowed to extract the year, month, day, week, and quarter. And you can always check out the SQL documentation for more information on this. But basically, what this does is if you have a full timestamp and you only want the year component of it, you can extract just the year. So the usage would look something like this. You would say extract, and then in parentheses, you pass into the extract function the subcomponent you want to extract, and we put it in all caps just so it's clear to whoever's reading this that we are extracting the year, and then we'll say from, and then whatever date column we're trying to extract this from. The age function calculates and returns the current age given a timestamp. So you simply just pass in some timestamp column into the age function, and that will return something that looks like this: 13 years, 1 month, 5 days, and if you also have time information, it'll include hour, minutes, and seconds, etc. So what that's doing is it's just taking the current date that you are querying and then calculating how old the timestamp in the actual database is. So if let's say the year was 2020 and you had a timestamp from the year 2000, then it would return back 20 years. So it's just calculating how old is that particular timestamp given when you're actually querying it. So just its age. And then finally, this toChar or toCharacter functionality is just a general function to convert data types to text. And it's actually not explicitly used just for timestamps. You can use this on lots of different use cases, but it's very useful for timestamp formatting in particular. And we're going to go and explore the documentation a little further when we actually work through some examples. But basically, the usage of this is you say to_char, and then inside this toCharacter function, you're going to type in as a first parameter the date column name, and then comma, and then as a string parameter the text formatting you want. And notice there's going to be specialized codes as far as how you actually want to format the month, days, years, etc. And we're going to be exploring the documentation to see a full table of the different template formatting for that. So all of these functions are really best understood through example. So let's jump straight to pgadmin and work with these functions, as well as explore the documentation for translating a timestamp to a character string. All right, here I am at my query editor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything from the payment table just so we can explore it once again. And notice that all the way at the end, we had this payment date, which is a timestamp without a time zone. So let's start going through the couple of functions we just learned about. The first one being the extract function. So the way this works is, and we'll separate this out into 2 lines. We say select, and then we extract, parentheses, and here we get to decide what we actually want to extract. So if we wanted to extract just a year from that payment date, we'll say year from, and then we type in that timestamp column name. And notice what we get back. We're getting back a certain part of that date, and then we get back 2007. And it's really useful to use this along with the alias in order to say something like as, and then you can call this like my year, run this, and then you get my year. So you could also just say year, run that, and you get back year. Notice that year is highlighted here because it is technically a specialized keyword of SQL because it can be used as a subcomponent to extract from a date. So here again, typically you're going to select, extract, you're going to select something to extract, such as the month from payment dates, and then call it, let's say pay month, or whatever you want to actually call this column. And there you see pay month, and here's the second month. So these all happened in February, etc. And you can do it for all the ones we mentioned, such as quarter as well. Start typing these on multiple lines, run this, and so this happens in the first quarter of the year. Because it was February, the first quarter is January, February, and March. So we can see here, this payment happened in the first quarter. Very useful for things like business. Okay, so we have the extract functionality in place. Let's say we wanted to figure out how old a particular timestamp date was in regards to our current date. To do that, we simply say select, and if we say payment date, notice here we have that timestamp again, The age function, if we take a look at it, is going to allow us to calculate how old this particular timestamp is. So for example, if something or someone was born on this particular date timestamp, how old will it be right now? And obviously you'll get different results because you won't run this at the exact same time I will. So if I run this, here I get to see the age, and it's 13 years, 1 month, 5 days, and then hours, minutes, seconds, and then subseconds. All right, so that is the age functionality. And then finally, the one I want to show you in a little more detail is toCharacter. So the way this works is we say to_character, then we decide on the timestamp column we're going to be working with. We say comma, and then as a string code, you get to decide on the formatting. And as I mentioned, toCharacter is just a generalized function for converting from one data type into a text data type. And if we take a look at the documentation for this, which is under data type formatting functions, or if you just Google search to_char, it'll get you to this page. I'm going to zoom in just a little more so we can read this. And basically, what this allows us to do is, as a function, grab some data type and then convert it to a text data type. So typically, you can see the first one here is you grab some timestamp and you convert it to a string. And there's going to be specialized template formatting codes. So if you scroll down here, notice there's different patterns you can use. And essentially, these are the specialized patterns you can combine in any way you want in order to organize the text however you see fit. So notice if you just say one single Y, that's the last digit of the year. 2 capital Ys is the last 2 digits, 3, and then 4, etc. You can also do things like have capitalized month, which is the full uppercase month name, or if you just say all lowercase MON, it's the abbreviated lowercase, so 3 characters in English. Depending if you're on a localized version of your language, it may vary, etc. But notice there's lots of different ways you can ask for the month. So let's go ahead and play around with this. So we see here that we have a timestamp. Let's go ahead and format it to be month dash YYYY. So we run this, and because we have month in full caps, it's going to report back February. This dash is just the dash that I decided to use there. So if I remove that dash and just have a bunch of spaces, run this again, then the string code is just going to have some spaces between month and these 4 capital Ys. So keep in mind, now I can add in whatever string, text, or characters I want in order to format my date as I so choose. So let's imagine that you're running something from the United States and somebody asks you for a report on this payment date organized, let's say by month, then day, then year. So what you can do here is, let's take a look at the documentation here. We're going to go ahead and use, let's say, all lowercase MON. So we'll say all lowercase MON /, and then if you take a look at the table, you can get the dates just as 2 numbers with lowercase dd, and then we'll go ahead and just have Ys there. So we run this and we get back February 15th, 2007. And then on second thought, you think it looks kind of weird to have the 3 letters. So you come back in the documentation, you see here MM is the month number, which probably makes more sense. So we'll come back here and replace this with MM, run that, and now I see 02/15/2007. And these / dashes are just / that I got to decide on. If I wanted to, I could have made these just normal dashes, run this, and note how my string is going to keep getting edited. Now let's imagine we're running this query from a European standpoint, and we actually want to have the formatting be correct for European standards, in which case I would have the day first, and then come in with the month, another dash, and then have the year, and notice how that starts to get flipped around. Okay, so a lot of this is just looking up here in this large table exactly the template pattern for your date time formatting. Again, it's a large table, but you should be able to find whatever you're looking for, and then you can add in your own strings or own characters in order to format it however you see fit. So that is the toCharacter function. And as I mentioned, later on we'll see that it's actually able to format not just timestamps, but a variety of different things. So you can format an integer to be a string. So convert an integer to a string, and then maybe only show certain precision levels. Okay, so that's it for this lecture I will see you at the next one.